So gender, yeah, we have had so many projects around all sorts of issues with gender, and I'm going to show you a few of those today. This one I showed actually last week for April Fool's Day, and the reason I showed it was because it was really brave and humorous, and they were dealing with something as really innocuous as a nipple. I'll run the campaign.
Female or male? Can't tell, neither can we. But Instagram only allows men to show their nipples, while banning women's. Censoring women's bodies only serves to objectify them. So to challenge this idea and expose the irony of Instagram's policy, we created genderless nipples. We posted close-ups of nipples without any gender-revealing indicators, and encouraged others to submit their own nip selfies. When Instagram deleted a male nipple, thinking it was female, it started a conversation, a big conversation. We hit the front page of Reddit, and even celebrities joined our protest. In just 1 week, we gained over 50,000 followers and over 1,000 nipple donations. Our nipples became too famous for even Instagram to censor. So, while Instagram hasn't changed their corporate policy yet, they're allowing the Genderless Nipples account to stay up. Over 70,000 people helped spark a global conversation about gender equality on social media. We had no budget and no media plan. We just had the one thing that every single person on the planet has: a nipple.
Me laugh, that project. You know what? The thing I like about it most is that they had no budget and they had no media plan. They just stuck an idea out into the universe, and it sparked a conversation. You know, whether you believe women or men should be, you know, topless on Instagram or not, it's all around raising awareness around inequality and bringing people to the table and having a conversation. So really, really brilliant project. There's a couple of projects that I'm going to put in around the gender pay gap. This one I wanted to show because it was the scale of it. It was a campaign to raise awareness. Like, women generally get paid 20% less than men across the world. That's a huge average. It's much worse in some countries and it's less in others, but it's mental. That's just not fair. It's not right. You can see on the left there's this sort of image of guerrilla advertising where it's even on the pavement and then it's on the building and then it's in the tube. So it's just that lovely juxtaposition between sort of small and large. And we had another project on this, but it used typography. I think it was Philippa. She took out vowels. I don't think she actually went to Edgware Road and, you know, sprayed paint on the tube sign, but took out vowels to illustrate the 20%, I think the 20% of the alphabet, to prove that this isn't right and to show that it wasn't right. This is another project, and I've chosen exactly the same subject here, but it's a completely different way of looking at it. So there's so many ways that we can, as creative thinkers, think about a problem and an issue. So it's really a social experiment, and I'm going to run the film.
Name 3 places you hear music.
Class, home, school.
Name 3 things you do while you watch TV. Go.
Lay down, fall asleep, play on phone.
Name 3 animals. Go.
Tiger, lion, and dog.
Okay. Name 3 things found on the desk.
A pencil, sticky tape, and a disc.
Name 3 sauces.
Barbecue sauce, tomato sauce, cream sauce.
Name 3 places where you can sleep.
Living room, bedroom, and kitchen. It's fair if that's equal to.
It wasn't fair because
because the teams were really unequal?
No, that maybe we can be equals. It was kind of unfair.
You're like a different gender. It doesn't mean that you have to get like worse scores.
Well, yeah, but now society has changed and it's kind of right.
Unless you have like a really good reason for it, it's just like there's no point in doing it. It's just like pretending that you won when you actually didn't.
Not fair because everyone should be like equal. You have to pay your house and all that. It will be totally like unacceptable.
Sexism is like unfair.
Yeah, it's like favoritism.
I really like this project because I think it's looking at how we could play games in education to create the injustices that are in the world, and it was just very nice to see a different approach to this inequality. This is a film really about domestic violence in a way, but I just wanted to include it because it was a really clever way at looking at a problem. And I've never seen a project like it actually, and it was sent to us a good few years ago, so it's just very clever.
Hello, my name is Anna and I'm 27 years old. I've been happily married for 2 years and I believe that my husband always knows what's best for me. I don't need any friends or close acquaintances. I don't like to wear makeup or dress eccentrically because this would make other men look at me. I prefer the comfort of my own home. And this is why I left my job a year ago. My children are my priority. My husband and my children. I love my husband.
So yeah, I mean, I explained, I probably shouldn't have explained it. It's just really strange when you first see that film and it's a man talking as a woman. Very clever piece of communication. This is another project that is really around rights, gay rights and equality. So I'll just run the campaign. They actually partnered up with the Metro in New York and a brand, which is Pantone, which is a sort of colour system for those of you who don't know. So here's the film.
The subway system in New York is a world of its own, full of coloured lines that tell a unique story of each commuter. And that's exactly what Pantone decided to bring into the limelight in collaboration with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority of New York. Only it was for us, the LGBT community. Why? Because it noticed something not many people did, that the color of the subway lines were also included in the gay pride flag, a subconscious testament to the open, accepting nature of New York. And soon, simple subway journeys turned into Pantone's Ride of Pride, a website where the stories of interactions between us and other people were as complex, simple, and varied as the subway connections themselves. On this website, people from the LGBT community and those outside of it shared stories of interactions with one another and posted them on the color of the lines in which they took place. Some stories were warm, some lukewarm, and others downright cold. But each was real and got assigned a different shade. People could visit the website, read the stories, and share the shades they related with. Soon, they would see that even though their shades differed, they were all a part of the same basic color. In a few days, Pantone's Ride of Pride became the connecting link between people, just as the trains connected their destinations. We used the back of the Metro cards to ensure more and more people join in. Pantone's Ride of Pride. Everyone's welcome.
Really lovely piece of creative thinking in that you took the flag, the rainbow flag, and then connected it to a map that already exists. We would encourage you, if you choose to do a creative project in any form on social and environmental impact, to look around you, look what already exists, look at technologies that are already out there or organisations or brands that you could sort of link with. This, again, is so different from that last project, but all around education. It was done by an illustrator, and I'm just going to run the animation, and only a very small section of it because it's there's quite a lot on. You can have a look on the site, but it's all really about education.
I'm a transgender man. For me, it means that whilst I was assigned female at birth based on my body, and was seen as female before I medically transitioned, that just never felt right to me. I've always felt like I was a male, and don't consider myself to have ever been female. In saying this, everyone's different, and you're equally trans regardless of whether you choose to transition medically or not.
It goes on through all the different types of, I don't know even how to explain, people on the spectrum. And what's interesting actually is, in ancient kind of tribal cultures, it was quite normal for them to have, I think, up to 7 different types of gender. It's only in our culture, probably through religion or whatever, I don't really know, it would be interesting to find out more, that we have this sort of really binary system. But in native cultures, it's completely different. Absolutely different. So how mad is that? Anyway, really great piece of work, very, very different from the one before. This project it's quite old. It was sent to us like probably the first year that we set the platform up, maybe the second year. And the reason I want to share it with you is because I just love the idea that President Putin would receive thousands and thousands of letters from people all around the world. Again, they linked up with a brand which was Moonpig, the card people, but watch this, it's hilarious.
On the 23rd of July, Gandhi wrote a letter to the leader of the Nazi regime, Adolf Hitler, urging him to stop the upcoming war. Gandhi ended the request by letting him know that he remains his true friend. He used love to challenge hate. We want the people of Britain to do the same. In modern times, the rights of self-expression are still being compromised. It's Moonpig's belief that everyone should have the right to be who they are and, most importantly, let the world know. We sincerely believe that a personalised message has a greater impact. That's why we're launching the Dear Friends campaign, a petition made personal. We will target people with the power to effect change by sending personalised messages written by our audience. Our first challenge is to change Vladimir Putin's perception of love on Valentine's Day. The campaign's hub is an online service based on Moonpig's current mechanics. People can craft their own unique message. They can share their final card on social media to spread the word among friends. We'll introduce our audience to our cause with an open letter signed by Moonpig and running in the UK's most popular newspapers. This will be followed by billboards to raise further awareness. When enough cards have been made, we'll ship them off and make sure they land on Putin's desk for Valentine's Day. The Dear Friend campaign will keep on running, targeting leaders who continuously wrong their followers and send them a piece of their hearts.
Really, really clever concept, especially when you think about it was done quite a number of years ago. We actually shared that with the ad agency that worked for Moonpig at the time. I don't know if anything happened with it, but I like to think that I like to think that Moonpig would be brave enough to do something like that. This project was again really about equality. It's a really clever bit of branding. I'm a bit anti-consumption, so the products and things are in plastic bottles and stuff like that. But I still think it's a really lovely piece of clever kind of branding. I'll run the campaign. really nice piece of branding. And, you know, the idea that we have different products for, you know, men and women and stuff like that, it's just all a bit mad, really. So you might be looking at this and you might not be from illustration or photography or film or even advertising or graphics. It doesn't need to stop you. You could be a fashion designer, or you could be a textile designer or ceramicist or jeweler. And we've got so many projects in this area. This was one that was done by Etty. I think she was maybe even doing her foundation at the time, maybe not, but she was at AUB. And she did this jewellery which was all around equality. So just because you're not one of those other disciplines, it doesn't necessarily need to stop you from creating something that's beautiful and acts as a piece of positive change.